music mindset on the airways tonight. Dropping wisdom, heavy groove, feeling right. It's the music mindset vibe that feels so right.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Mindset Channel. No, Anita's not gone, but she kind of fell off a little bit there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before I do that, I want to tell you a quick story, man. It's 1986. I'm on a college campus. It's homecoming weekend, and Anita Baker is to perform at the homecoming celebration. Guess what? She couldn't make it. Something happened. Well, at that time, I had a band, and we were performing in the area. We happened to be rehearsing that night on campus at a hall. And when people found out Anita wasn't going to make it, people were mulling around the campus a little upset that they had spent their money and they had the expectation of seeing her. And guess what we did? We kind of like opened up the doors and let the crowd come in and watch us perform. We were working on a show and stuff like that. And guess what? We turned that thing out, man. You know what I mean? Nobody missed the fact that Anita didn't show up. I'm not saying I was good, but I was good. My band was good, and what we did was good, and that made the day. And tonight, I'm just going to get into her story, and it's kind of a little bit in depth, so you want to hang around to the end. It's going to be a little bit long, but you'll learn everything you need to know about Anita, and I'll see you guys later.
With all my heart, I love you, baby.
Yeah, man. Anita Baker was born January 26, 1958 in Toledo, Ohio. When she was 2 years old, her mother abandoned her and she was raised by a foster family in Detroit, Michigan. When Anita was 12 years old, her foster parents died and her foster sister took over the responsibility. She then began singing in a gospel choir and started listening to female jazz singers like Sarah Vaughan, Nancy Wilson, and Ella Fitzgerald. By age 16, she was already performing with several local bands. After one show at a club, she was invited by band leader David Washington to audition for the funk band Chapter 8 in 1975. Those guys got a record deal and started touring, but the record label dropped them because they were convinced that Anita didn't have star potential. So Baker returned to Detroit, working as a waitress and receptionist until 1982, when she was talked into pursuing a solo career on the Beverly Glenn record label. Now, if you're around in the 1980s, you know that voice and you know that face. And that old record label, man, those dudes were dead wrong. This lady was built different and she caught your attention no matter who you were or what kind of music you like to listen to. No, she wasn't disco, not funk, not rock, not bubblegum pop of the day. She was deeper, jazzy, emotional. And the first song that actually brought her to light was called Angel. This was Anita Baker's first real introduction to the world. She dropped it on her debut album, The Songstress, in 1983. And even though the song and album weren't quite blockbusters, they showed the world what Anita was about to do.
Like the flowing waters of a silver stream.
That voice was smoky, haunting, laid back, but it had weight. It wasn't trying to be flashy. It was grown, big girl style. It took a few years in getting the right team in place, but then in 1986, it happened. Boom. The album Rapture became a game changer. Every song on that album captivated the world, but it was a certain joint that did it for everybody.
Your heart has called me closer to you.
Sweet Love. Man, that thing hit the charts like a bomb.
Sweet
It blew up to number 2 on the R&B charts, and it crossed over to become a top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100.
And the Grammy goes to Anita Baker.
And now Anita Baker had become a household name for most of us. That album went 5-time platinum, selling more than 5 million copies in the US alone. And let me tell you, it's still one of the most elegant R&B albums ever made. Songs like No One in the World. And that's stuff to find what we now today call Quiet Storm. She wasn't just another R&B singer. Anita was the blueprint for sophistication in the urban-oriented music genre. class, poise, beauty, elegance. She was right there in the lineage of Nancy Wilson, Hazel Scott, Billie Holiday, and all those other female greats. A true class act. But then the story gets a little more complicated. The music industry saw how huge Rapture was, and you know how the business is. They want more and more and more. So they pushed her for her next album. Her follow-up, Giving You the Best That I Got.
Ain't there something I can give?
This was another beast, hitting #1 on the Billboard 200 album chart and winning more Grammys.
That I made a vow, I'm giving you the best that I've got.
She was dominating without gimmicks, without controversy, just pure music. At her peak, Anita Baker was untouchable. She had 8 Grammy Awards, 13 million albums sold in the US. So how does somebody like that just fall off? Now don't get it wrong, her career didn't just fall off because she got too old or music started to suck. It fell off because life got real. She started a family, she married a dude named Walter Bridgeforth Jr., and they had 2 sons. She stepped back from the business to raise her boys, putting family first. And then by the early 1990s, R&B was changing too. You had the New Jack Swing come into play. Teddy Riley and them fellas were doing music that was hard to compete with, especially if you were old school. You also had hip-hop soul and younger artists like Mary J. Blige and Toni Braxton bringing a new edge to the genre. Let me slip this in here though. A lot of people don't know that a few of Toni Braxton's early hits were actually written for Anita Baker, especially the song Love Should Have Brought You Home. But Anita turned it down while Toni ran with it. Man, I know she wished she could take that one back. But Anita was just okay in her lane, and she wasn't trying to keep up with the trends or the new jacks of the day.
A lot of people in the business that are accustomed to a singer doing things in a certain way, and I don't fit that mold all of the time.
And while that's admirable, it also meant her sound started to feel played out and out of step with where radio was heading. But the real problem with Ruin was more than just the music landscape. Anita had constant battles with a record label over royalties, her music masters, and who owned the right to her sound. Those distractions and delays, you name it, that slowed down her momentum. Fans were waiting years between projects, and in the industry, momentum is everything. You take a long break and your whole audience can change. And then there's the voice. If you listen close, by the 1990s, Anita's voice started sounding different, a little deeper, more raw. Some of that is just age, and some of it may have been just lifestyle. But it also had to do with the writing and the production. Different people were now creating the music. So the raw talent and soul power of the early Rapture album and that stuff wasn't there anymore. Now don't get me wrong, her 1990 album compositions were still classic Anita. Smooth, jazzy, gorgeous, but it didn't hit the same commercial highs. By 1994, Rhythm of Love dropped. It went double platinum and gave us I Apologize. That one. This was still Anita Baker, but the sound was not the same to me. I honestly didn't feel it like I did her other past work. And after that, the music slowed way down. And that with Anita Baker not trying to play the Hollywood game, she wasn't in the tabloids, she wasn't chasing trends, and she sure wasn't about to sacrifice her dignity. And that's the part that really makes her great. But in a cutthroat business like music, if you're not willing to fight for the spotlight or sell out, the industry will quietly move you to the side. By the 2000s, Anita Baker was more like a myth. Fans still loved her, but the music wasn't coming like in the 80s. In 2004, she did the album My Everything, but unfortunately, the world had moved on. The industry was different. The audience wasn't hearing her the same way. And after that, no new studio album. Yeah, she'd pop up for a tour, make an announcement, show her face, but then just disappear again. And yet, here's the thing, Anita Baker doesn't need a million albums to prove anything. She's a legend for what she had already done, period. This lady's influence is all over the place. Toni Braxton, Layla Hathaway, who by the way remade Anita's song Angel. Those and a few others all carry some of Anita's singing DNA. But Anita's not completely done though. She came back for tours in 2023 and 2024, selling out arenas and reminding fans why her name still holds some weight. But I'm not gonna play with it. It's a little rougher than it used to be. Age can be a mofo when it comes to sounding like you did 30 plus years ago. But here's the truth, even if she's not dropping new hits, Anita Baker's legacy is sealed. Put on that album Rapture right now, and it still sounds timeless. That's the mark of a true artist. Hey, the truth is not that Anita Baker fell off. Keeping it real, the world just moved on. But when you hear that voice and see her face, you remember what elegance, class, and pure soul sounds like. And that is why Anita Baker will always matter. Yeah, man, that says it all. Anita Baker, Sweet Love, and the other songs that she did were great. That Rapture album, man, that's an album for decades. Will always be hot. Put it on, it sets the mood, makes your night. I hope you guys appreciate that and come back to the Music Mindset channel. I'm Mr. Mindset. Thank you.